Okay, so Electric Warriors. For me, Electric Warriors is like one of those stories out there people don't really care about, but they do care about. Anyway, before I give you the explanation of Electric Warriors and its universe and its concept it's all about, I kind of want to run over issue 4 just for a little bit. Now, with issue 4, we pick up after they've sort of discovered there's this whole other side to the Great Compromise, and apparently the losers are sold off in an auction or either eaten while somewhat still alive. And the Electric Warriors don't take it so well. When Ian and his crew discover this, they try to stop them, they try to reveal them, but it turns out that Firestorm has been onto them since the moment they found out about their secret meeting and stuff. So instead, he sets a booby trap for Inceptor, in which in each 4 Inceptor is killed. But that's not all, because he isn't slowing down with the remaining 4 members of the Electric Warriors, and instead he's kind of bombarding them with fights that seem mildly impossible to win. And in issue 5 and soon to be ending issue 6, we're gonna see a big climatic change. Anyway, Electric Warriors to me seems to represent or seems to handle the concept of war in an interesting manner. Now, if you look at what what war is now or even was back then, it was basically a group of people fighting for one common goal and getting killed for no real reason, just massive loss of life. And to be fair, the game was a lot less than a life loss. And Electric Warriors were sort of touching on that subject because all the alien races, if you look around, I'm pretty sure the hardcore DC fans will notice that there have been some pretty obscure alien races that all of a sudden just showed up in Electric Warriors. And for instance, for the Khans, they're actually a race of warriors. They're a race of warrior aliens. They been a lot of honor. But the thing was, for the Great Compromise in the name, it's a compromise. It was created so that lives won't have to be lost in such great magnitudes that an entire race might be lost in the process. So what the Great Compromise sought to achieve was each race would select one representative to represent them, obviously, during how many years it is before this tournament happens. And during the fight, whoever wins gets their demands granted, uh, getting Earth's grains or getting the some of the clone tech from the Dominions. But I'm very in love with this concept. Seems like it could really apply to real world status because, for instance, the Iraq War is not helping anyone. I mean, soldiers go there, lives are lost, families are broken. It's painful. I mean, in the real world, if we had the Hunger Games setup or the Electric Warrior setup where you have to choose one member for your country to represent and the winner takes all, it's sort of good and bad. Because one, you have to make sure the one you're selecting to represent your race is worthy, is strong enough to win it for you. And now you have to look at what you're getting out of it if you do win, and what you're losing if you do lose. So, for instance, let's take it like if we were actually going up against the Iraqs and they choose your warrior and we choose ours. You're gonna see something like maybe the Iraqis might want, I don't know, um, maybe like Samsung or something. They might want something big from the US, and we might want their oil. Anyway, my deal is if they were to select a fighter and let's say the Iraqians won, it will be a huge loss. And if we won, it would be a huge gain. But what about the Iraqs? They're losing something huge as well. So in the end of the day, no one is really happy. But the thing is, Electric Warriors sort of focuses on that on a different level because we're seeing this through the eyes of Ian. And with Ian, it's like he's trying to come to the fact that humanity isn't as prominent as he read about it in the books. Like throughout the history, like humanity has been prominent, there's been all over the place, but all of a sudden it's like to him he wasn't even around when that prominency was there, but to him it's like we should still be prominent till now. And I think that's just the pride that has been encoded into our human DNA that is just rambling on right now. Because if you look at a lot of things that some people do in life, is very questionable. I mean, killing animals just for fun, like destroying property, polluting the environment. To be fair, if we had someone like Ra's al Ghul or Poison Ivy step into the real world and kill us, all due respect, I will wholeheartedly support them because then they'll just be doing planet Earth a huge favor. But there's also the other mystery behind the Electric Warriors universe because if you look at it at a first glance, what my mistake at the first video was saying uh, this might be our Earth, like far into the future. Truth is, it is far into the future, but it's not Earth Zero. It's not the main DC universe. In actuality, I think the history of this universe is explained in Countdown to Final Crisis. I think in the final five issues of of the run by Grant Morrison, because uh, what you'll notice is that some of the animals are sentient, except for the Jokerized fish. Some of the animals are sentient, but some some really strong fans of DC will notice that actually this storyline has only happened in one point in the comics, and that will be Kamandi's universe. And the thing is, in Final Crisis, we sort of get an origin to Kamandi. Now, when Kamandi first showed up, he was like Kamandi. There wasn't really much to him. It was like the last boy on Earth. His parents were a mystery. His whole background was a mystery. We had no idea how the animals could talk. It was like this weird dark world that you would think would be fun because the animals are talking, but it's just so dark and dystopian and needs an explanation. And this is really given to us in Countdown to Final Crisis. Now, how it happens is very confusing and convoluted because just to put it, try my best to put it simple for you. It begins with Karate Kid infected with a virus from the future that came from Earth 51 in the past when it was found by that Earth's Adam. Already confusing. Anyway, he's been traveling and like hopping through universe and time trying to look for a cure for that virus until we find out the virus is incurable. Not to mention, when they try to extract it from Karate Kid, it turns out to be sentient, dissipates into like gaseous form, and starts infecting everyone. Now, we initially don't know how this thing worked because it just dissipated to dust and that was it. But then all of a sudden, one of the scientists in the lab started to behave feral, like an animal. She lost her mind, and that was when they started to catch on that it's already beginning. But it seems like it's attacking people at random because not everyone in the facility is infected. And one of these people that is infected is Buddy Blank. Now, Buddy Blank isn't exactly well known, and that's really the fact that he's OMAC. Well, the human OMAC, not the evil version, but like he basically has a connection, like in the main DC universe, he has a connection to Brother Eye, but not currently because Rebirth. But back then in the DC universe, he had a connection to Brother Eye, which lets him like tap into all this technology using Brother Eye, getting just huge resources to all kinds of electronics. But the thing is, in Earth 51, Buddy Blank is a scientist, and he's also a grandfather. He has a son. He has a grandson called Billy, and and a daughter, which her husband is never mentioned. Anyway, when the virus is spreading, he decides to get out there and like find his family. And one of Triple Kid Girl's clones decides to help him because she said she has no way of getting back and she doesn't know what to do with herself. So on their way there, a lot of interesting things happen. Rats, humanoid rats are eating on people. People are turning feral and eating each other. It's essentially like Wayward Pines. The humans evolved and instead they sort of devolved and became feral. Quite interesting actually. Anyway, when he gets to the house, one of the most disturbing scenes came to me. I'm like, damn, that scene looked like a wall straight out of someone's messed up nightmare because basically his grandson has a dog. I think it's a kind of bulldog, but he has a dog, and like his grandson seems to be immune to the virus because, from his mention, his dog and his mother are both infected. His mother isn't seen for a while, and that's actually sort of because she's on the roof. And his dog, the craziest thing happens when Buddy Blank turns around. He said he himself said this scene might as well jumped out of a horror movie because the dog that his son has trained since he was a puppy was on 2 feet with a kitchen knife about to kill Buddy Blank. And he did the only logical thing. He kicked the thing out of midair and then killed it promptly later, which is very reasonable. So after that, they realized that the now sentient rats are like eating through the wall, so they need to get up to the roof. And as they get to the roof, they're attacked by Buddy Blank's daughter, Billy's mom. And it's a very sad scene because in this scene, Tropical Girl is trying to hold her back while also getting mushed on by sentient rats. And in her last moments, she hands over her Legionnaire ring. Now, the Legionnaire ring is sort of like your ID card for like the Avengers or like the Justice League, but it does so much more than that. It also lets you fly. And if you watch Supergirl, you'll know what this ring looks like because Brainiac uh, tends to use it once in a while. So Buddy Blank uses it to escape, and they head to a bunker in which he activates a connection to Brother Eye to keep an eye on the world when things die down, when the virus finally dissipates once and for all, so they can go out. Now, the issue is they don't have enough food to last the both of them, but Buddy Blank has already made up his mind to sacrifice himself to make sure his grandson lives. Now, his grandson already being blonde, being Billy, and in a world where animals are becoming sentient by the days, it was quite obvious this was Kamandi's world. And they literally ended that side of the story with the footnote, "The last boy on Earth." Now, this is a big deal because this would mean that the Electric Warriors universe has skipped the main DC age, has skipped the Legion of Superheroes, the Batman Beyond age, and has surpassed the Kamandi age, in which Kamandi is no longer the only sentient human left, and into the current times, in which somehow Firestorm has reenacted himself. And in Firestorm's mind, he's trying to fix everything, bring the superheroes back. I think that's the theory I'm gonna be working with here, because Firestorm looks like he's disappointed. He's disappointed in what the universe has turned into. He's disappointed in humanity. He's disappointed in everything. You could tell because, well, he's actually moodier than ever. But like at the same time as he's acting like this overlord, he sort of has his own plan to take out all these gilded. Apparently, these are like the merchants or those who bid on the dead bodies of the Electric Warriors that died in battle. So yeah, like he's sort of working on his own plan to end them, and he's sort of working on his own plan to restart humanity, and he's also sort of working on his own plan to kill the Electric Warriors in his group that is trying to stop them. And to me, I think this version of Firestorm is interesting because I think this might tie into, say, Doomsday Clock issue 9, when it's revealed that Martin Stein created the accident that created Firestorm on purpose, so he could just get into a superhero community and spy on them, because that would explain a whole lot of resentment from this side. And remember, the Firestorm Matrix links all previous Firestorms together. So technically, if you've ever been part of the Firestorm Matrix, an essence of you will still be this. It's kind of like the Speed Force for speedsters, but Firestormers instead. But I'm so far with the story. I'm very impressed with it. I love the story. I think the concept is interesting. I think there should be more stories like this. And I'm pretty sure by the time this video getting out, issue 5 should already be out, or we should be around the moment of issue 6, in which the book is gonna be come to a conclusion. But just to let you know, when Deceased comes out, I'm gonna talk a little about it, because I know the name is a gimmick, but the cover art they used for it in DC previews, I'm like, wow, that is worth reading. That is definitely worth reading. So I'm gonna catch you all later. Take care, watch out, and